Okay, welcome back to the final round, the second night of our first Reconnaissance playthrough. We had quite a good last round. We just defeated our first Draconum, which is nice, and we are situated next to a keep, which would be very useful to take down. I didn't do the clear up at the end of last round. We just need to re-roll for the source. So we have two non-basic mana, so we'll have to re-roll that. 2 white and a black, that's pretty bad. Considering we have no spells, we actually have no way of using black for mana. A white card from the advanced action offer got put into the dummy deck, and they got a green crystal, so actually Goldix now is up to 4 green crystals and 2 blue, so he will really quickly go through the deck if we draw a green card, so hopefully that doesn't happen. And let's draw our starting hand cards. We're going to get 6. Although we're next to a keep, it's not one of ours, so we do not get the benefit of it. And we're going to look at either playing Long Night or Sparing Power. I think Mana Search is useful for the flexibility of re-rolling the source, particularly in a solo game where you've only got 3 dice. We've started with 1 mana die. We won't be able to use this whole night. If another one gets depleted or both get depleted, we are just stuck. But Long Night, to get 3 cards from your deep deck back onto the bottom, so you can just get that little bit extra done, is really useful, as is Sparing Power for that one final push. Didn't refresh our units. Would prefer to save our units for the final attack, but can we take out that keep? It would take 4 movement to get onto it, so we'd be looking at playing ambush. We do not have any green mana in the source, even, so we would have to use our crystal in order to do that, or we could spend move 2 and move 2, or with the blue card. Blocking him, as I said at the end of the last video, is really easy because we have this token, so his attack 3 is just blocked. And 7 damage, because it's night, we've got an automatic 2 damage from this. We'd only need 5 damage. But we would have to probably use one of our units in order to do that. So if that was an attack 3, 4, and then maybe crystallize for 5, it's probably about as good as we'd get. So we'd keep Shield of the Fallen and Ambush, which are pretty good. We are using a lot of cards, 4 cards in order to take it down, but no fantastic cards. Just 1 unit, which is the problem. But we can't use the ambush benefit because we do not have an attack card. We could draw 1 card and hope it's an attack card, but most of our deck does not consist of attacking cards, so I think that's not a bad turn. It would use 4 cards. Let's take Sparing Power. I think it's fine that we let the dummy player go first. We would shuffle, but it really doesn't matter. He's going to go before us. So let's draw 3 for the dummy player. Oh, green, fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least the blue cards came out. Okay, so then it's us. As we said, we will do move 4. We do not have green or blue mana, so we will have to use both. It is double fortified, coming from this keep location, plus the token itself being fortified means we couldn't take it out with siege or ranged. So we're going to have to block it. We have to block here. We then just need 7 damage to kill it. Let's use our crossbowman for 3 damage. We have our knight sharpshooting for another 2. That's 5, 6, 7. So what we should have done, assaulting this keep, we lose 1 reputation and gain 3 fame. 1, 2, 3. Discard that token. Ooh, sparing power gets 1 card at the start of each of our rounds. So we'll put that there. Discard these. And let's see what the dummy player draws. 1, 2, 3. It's blue. So 2 more. Hopefully these both green. And he's most of the way through his deck already. So we add hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're next to, actually we are on a keep, which we own. So we draw 2 more because we have conquered 2 keeps and 1 under sparing power. So we've not got that many more turns left either. So in our keep, we actually can't recruit any of these units. We have foresters from villages, herbalists from villages and monasteries, and illusionists from monasteries and mage towers. Normally, in most scenarios, once you've revealed one of the core tiles, one of the brown-backed tiles, you would start using elite units in the offer. With the first reconnaissance scenario, you only ever have these silver units, so a bit unfortunate actually that we can't recruit anything. I hadn't noticed that until we conquered this, but still, I don't think I would have changed my mind. Let's see what we want to do. Alright, so concentration is nice. We've got mana draw, which we probably want to do to change that black die. We can use 1 white die to power it up, and then we can set this black die to another colour. I am very tempted to change it green, because we could do this movement and that would give us move 4. We would still need more movement. We could do also instinct here to get additional movement using concentration. So we could get 10 movement. So even if this tile isn't the one that we need, we'd be able to reveal the one underneath. So yeah, let's do that. Mana draw goes green and get 2 crystals. And we'll use concentration first to power up instinct. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to reveal this tile, and it is the city. Unfortunately, with this situated here, it has to be in that orientation. We are right next to a Draconum, which I will flip over in a moment. There's a keep here, but also we cannot get through this water. So we could start moving round and then fight this keep to get in, or reveal this tile and hope we can move round this way, fighting Draconum. So that is 5 movement we've used. We're definitely going to have to fight this Draconium if we move on to the mine, but what is it? Okay, so it's elusive, so if we don't block it, and it has a very strong attack of Ice Fire 6, so we'd need 12 block. Then it has an attack, defense of 14 even. Would we be able to defeat it? If we do block it, it would have an armor of 5. If we don't block it, it would have an armor of 12 because of this. So we definitely need to block it. In order to block it, none of our block would be effective, so we'd need 12. We can get 3 from this token and 6 here, so that'd be 9. And we could get another 6, and we could get more than enough. But then could we get 5 attack? We'd have two attack from the Knight sharpshooting. We would only have 1, 2 cards left to turn sideways, so we would have to use our swordsman. So would it be better then? We could wound the swordsman, since this is the final round. We can't use them again anyway, for a block of 6. And then using our ambush with rage, we'd get a block of 6. No, we'd use the shield. Well, either way, that we get this block first. 3, 4, 5, 6. 15. Attack. We would need to use a red crystal, I think. Yeah, so we can do it. The problem is, if we move and explore this tile first, it gets... Oh no, we'd have the movement from our ambush. So let's spend this other green crystal on ambush first off, and see what it reveals, and see if it's a nicer route. So this would be 3, 8 movement to get through, as opposed to 3, 8, 10, 14, 17 movement via the keep. So we do want to start moving this way round. Although being next to the keep to assault the city would be really beneficial, I don't think with the way these tiles are situated, blocked by the water, I don't think we'd have enough movement in order, or enough attack to fight that keep and the dragon and the city. So I think we're just going to have to accept having slightly fewer cards. With the use of sparing power, that does mitigate it slightly, so it's not the worst thing. So we've gained 10 movement total. We used 3 to move here, 2 to reveal it, so and we gain a fame for revealing. So 3 more will move us here, and that will provoke the dragon. So for its attack, we get +4 block to our first block. So this block 6 becomes a block 10. +3 is 13. If we half it, that's 6, which is enough to block its attack. So then its armor of 7 is reduced by this ability down to 5. Actually, we don't need to use our unit. If I use my red crystal, and I think that's better, so we can spend 4, 5. Oh, we don't even need to do that actually. We can save the red crystal because we have night sharpshooting for 2 damage at night. Attack or block 2, and we may as well get rid of the influence card since we aren't going to be recruiting on our route round unless we ran into the desert space here to recruit perhaps the illusionists. But I think we won't. So one thing I didn't notice actually, this is one of the elementalist faction tokens, but it does say you can just gain 1 extra fame. Someone pointed that out to me, so we'll just take it as 1 extra fame instead of worrying about the additional tokens here. So we gain 2 reputation and 8 fame. And discard that token. So we've used all of these cards, these 2 mana tokens, and we will re-roll this for the source, and unfortunately it stays white. A dummy player, 1, 2, 3 cards, white, so that's good. He will draw no additional cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these additional cards. So I don't think we want to draw anything from sparing power right now, so let's just tuck 1 under, and that means as long as we spend 2 cards from our hand this round, we'll draw our remaining 2 cards, and next round be able to draw these 3 extra cards as well. So at night it's 5 movement to get into that forest and adjacent. Oh, I didn't put the white city out. Adjacent to the white city. Each city has quite a fun little click base, so depending on the level of challenge that you want, tells you which tokens to use. Normally in the city assault scenarios for a solo game, it says the first city is 5 and the second city is 8. 5 might be a bit of a challenge considering you'd normally have 6 rounds, and this is only round 4, but let's set it on 5. It's the only city, and it'll show how an assault's done against multiple tokens anyway, even if we don't manage to kill them. It would be, if this were an extended scenario, indicative of our first attack on it, and if there's anything left over you'd then just re-assault on your next turn if you so wished, or subsequent round. So this indicates it's 2 white tokens and a grey, and the white city also has its own effect. Anything in the white city has +1 armor, and if you've conquered it, it then has some other bonuses. Let's find the city card. So cities are obviously fortified sites. When they're revealed, you place the city figure out. While it's unconquered, it can be assaulted, and you can do cooperative assaults. And I think that cooperative assault mechanic is probably the one fairly complicated part of the game, mainly probably because I don't play this multiplayer. So to me, I've never really run through that scenario. but with the bigger assaults with multiple players, you'd want to surround it, the city, and then choose to all go in at one time, split the enemies up. Otherwise, if you were to look at a really high level city, you're looking at, what's that, 4 white tokens and a grey token. That would be really hard to take down by yourself without sustaining quite a bit of damage. So you can also add cities together or double these tokens and treat them as a harder challenge if you want. But for a solo player, I found the suggested levels about right. And again, like a keep, once it's conquered, you get a bit of a bonus to your hand limit. It counts as 2 higher if you're the leader, or 1 higher if you've killed at least one of the creatures that are guarding it. So, in order to get near it, we would have to use both of our swiftness for 4 movement, and then promise as a 5th movement. We're not making use of any of our cards, but or any of the dice from the source. We don't have any cards with a stronger move effect. We've got no abilities for movement. None of our units give movement, so that's really the best we're going to do. And promise out of the cards we've got here is the one that doesn't help us. So let's just spend that 5 movement. Move on to the forest, and if you're adjacent day or night, you can see what is inside the city, because otherwise it's just too much of a challenge. So let's discard these cards and have a quick look at what we have here. Oh, some tough challenges there. So we do have these first of all, and they are called, why can I not see them? Shock troopers. So they actually cannot be fortified. So in the city, we could actually defeat them with ranged attack. Bearing in mind their armor is increased by 1, that range would be 7 because we haven't blocked them yet. If we do block them, their armor is only 4. Then we have these, and they are Autumn Guardsmen. They are double fortified, so we can't even kill them with siege. They are resistant to every single type of attack. And then also the Autumn Mages, which are resistant to physical damage. And they do a very strong attack with both brutal and poison, so if you don't block the attack, it counts as double and also puts wounds in your discard. So some pretty tough guys here, considering they've also got +1 armor. So, well, let's see if we're going to draw any cards that could possibly help us out in this situation. First off, it's the dummy player's round. Let's see how many turns we have left. It's white, so they're going to have 1 more turn, and then they're going to call end of round. So we don't have to necessarily do this all in one assault. We've only got 2 cards left though, so these are our final cards. So no point trying to add anything underneath sparing power. So we will flip this over and draw these cards as well. So we've certainly got potential for a lot of mana. That shouldn't be an issue for us. We've got a couple of good ranged attack cards. We've got our cold toughness, got our movement. So let's go for it. I think we'll roll our gem pouch first of all, just to see what tokens we get. Gold and black. So black is fame +1, that's a bit of a shame, and gold can be whatever we want. So we do have 1 of each colour. So for the 4 cards we'd want to power up, they are 1 of each colour. So let's just take we might kill some of these people and Yeah, and want to use one of the new advanced actions we get. So let's take red, because they're pretty strong red abilities there, and there's 2 white dice in the source. So that's Endless Gem Pouch played. Okay, so it's move 2 to get into a city, to replace stamina. I'm just discarding them straight away to keep everything tidy. And let's think what we've got here. So if we were to block the shock troopers, they'd only have an armor of 4, which we could kill with Swift Bolt. But that would mean we have to block them, which is obviously less than ideal, considering we need to generate so much attack for everything else. This token does have -3 to its armor, so it's down to only 4. So it would take 8 because it's resistant to everything to kill it. So that's pretty tough. Oh, and it also has +1 armor, so it needs, what did I say? So it needs 10 attack to kill it, which is pretty much all we're going to generate from all of our cards, really, anyway. This is probably the one attack really worth blocking, because it would count as attack of 8 and add wounds into our discard. Cold Toughness is block 5, 6, 7, because it's 2 colours of attack, 8 is a physical resistant, 9, 10. So it is enough block to stop that attack by itself. So that's quite a nice thing to consider. And then it would be easier enough to use our token here to block 3, 4, 5 to block this other token. Otherwise, we could use our 2 ranged attacks to kill it and keep this card free, but to bring it down to an attack of 4 needed is pretty good. And we've only got this one card, this one which we can't block. We could assign the damage to the crossbowman, but let's bear in mind for now, perhaps we just take those 2 wounds. And the way we deal with wounds, and it's quite nice that we've gone this whole time without taking any, you look at their attack value, you take 1 wound, then subtract your armor, so in this case 5 minus 4 leaves 1, so we take a wound and reduce it again. Since we've now reached 0, we will take no further wounds. Or, if you think of it a different way, 5 divided by 4, 1.25, you always round up, take 2 wounds. So let's assume we've taken those 2 wounds, we've blocked the shock troopers, we've blocked the autumn guardsmen. So we've used these cards. These guys are physically resistant, so we could combine those 2 if it's more efficient and think of them as one combined attack. This would make the autumn mages also resistant to fire and ice, but that doesn't really change anything since we're not using elemental attacks, and this ability token can only be applied to 1 enemy. If we think about killing these shock troopers, the most efficient way would be to use 4 range attack versus their armor of 3 plus 1, because they're in the White City, so they've got an armor of 4. we could use our white mana die to defeat those shock troopers. And we've then got these two to deal with. We've got armour of 9, and here an armour of 5. So it's really unlikely we're going to be able to block both of these. So which could we take out? We could get attack 3, 4, 5, and using the guardsman either 8 or 11, 12 if we spend March, 13 if we spend Darkness. So 13 attack against this token. It would be an armour of 8, it would need 16 to kill it, so that's not enough. So the only one really we'd be able to kill is this token, so we may as well consider it by itself. So it's an armour of 5, we need 10 damage. We've got 3, 4, 5, plus the shock trooper there. Yeah, so we may as well use the shock trooper and wound them. The 6 attack, 7, 8. We're not going to get... Oh, we're going to level up, so we're going to get 1 more skill token and 1 advanced action. So if we were to save our movement card, we could assault the city again on the next round. However, if we were to do that, all we'd have is the move card. The only chance we'd have is if Blood of Ancients gets taken, we could gain a wound and use the stronger effect of any card in the advanced action offer without paying its mana cost. Revealed a really strong advanced action. We'd need some sort of elemental attack, but we may as well hope if we only keep this card without the actually does I'm just going to have a little look at his. Okay, so Tovak has double time, which at night would give us 1 movement. Yeah, that's the only one of his skills that could work. Unfortunately, there's nothing that lets him use a wound sideways to get us into the city either. But let's spend these 2 cards sideways for the additional attack we need. So 2, 4, 10 to kill this token. We've blocked this attack, we've taken 2 wounds from him, and we've been pushed out of the city, having killed 2 of the tokens. So we would put 2 shield tokens on the White City card to show we've killed 2 enemies, and he returns. We lose 1 reputation, because we assaulted a fortified site. and we will gain 11 combined fame from these 2 tokens we've killed. On to 73. So we discard those. Let's look at 2 more tokens. So these are quite nice, but unfortunately not ones we're really going to be able to use if we'd got this before, though. Although it's the cooperative skill, and normally this is left for somebody else to use, it does say you gain a mana token, and on the next round if you use mana of that colour, you get a +4. So if we'd had that previously, we could have saved green mana to get siege attack 7 effectively out of this, which would have been a really good way of taking something out. But the other option is heal 2 wounds. That's the exactly wrong shade of green for how I've got this set up. To heal 2 wounds from Goldix's skills. Let's well, we take our cooperative skill, but unfortunately, as I say, this is the final round really for us. We get 1 more advanced action. Reset these. I mean, I'm gambling on potentially a really nice card coming out in the advanced action offer. The real smart play is definitely taking his 2 healing. Then we can heal these 2 wounds from our hand and stop us from getting the negative points at the end of the game. But I'd quite like to just see if we can do another attack. But let's reroll this die. Blue for the source, and it is... Nope, pathfinding. So, and we will not be able to make use of that. So, what shall we do? We've got green mana, we can get a move 4. Don't think we can end ourselves anywhere to really make much use of getting more points. So that would end our first reconnaissance. Obviously, assaulting the city is not part of this scenario. You're just meant to find the city, reveal the tile that it is on, and that is it done. But hopefully that little city assault was useful to witness as well. We only took 2 wounds. If this were say the solo conquest scenario, we would have ended our night at that point. The day phase would begin and we're pretty set to conquer that city without much issue. There's only 1 auto mage guarding it, and we could then carry on still with the whole day and night to find the second city, the stronger of the 2 cities, to take it down. But we'll go through and tally up our score. As I say, it would have been a little better had I not just gambled everything on the flip of a card and taken those couple of wounds out of my hand using Goldix's skill. But what's life without a little risk? So let's have a look at how these points tally up. There's a little, oh, where's the focus gone? Little scoring card in there. With solo, you don't award the achievements. That would go to whoever has the most, but obviously in a solo game that is always you. And then there's a few extra bonuses in those conquest scenarios. But for the first reconnaissance, let's separate out our special cards. Bit unusual, we didn't get any spells, never took on mage tower, and when we did the dungeon we happened to roll an artifact anyway. So, greatest knowledge, 2 points for each spell, 1 point for each advanced action. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 advanced actions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Greatest loot, 2 points per artifact. We have 3 artifacts, 6 points. And we also have 5 crystals. So 1 point for every 2, that'd be 2 points. Greatest leader, so the level of your hero or half the level if they're wounded. So 2 and 1, 3 points. Greatest conqueror and greatest adventurer. I'm just going to add these together. Normally the awards are separate, so if you play multiplayer you would have to count them up separately. But we have taken on 2 monasteries, so that's 4 points, 1 to keep, so up to 8 points. I didn't mark these 2 sites, but we did take on 1 monster ground and 1 dungeon as well. So a total of 6 of our tokens on the board, that is 12 points. So we are up to exactly 100. And then -4 because we have 2 wounds and a 96. There are, as I say, a few extra scoring in the conquest scenarios, but I won't include these, well, because we didn't actually achieve any conquered cities, or if you're a city leader, each round unplayed. But yeah, if you were to conquer both cities, actually that's quite a nice extra 35 points in the main scenarios. And obviously we'd have 2 more rounds in which we could conquer more sites, recruit stronger units. We didn't get the gold units into play in this scenario, but I think we achieved quite a lot conquering all those sites, having enough to take out 2/3 of the garrison of a city, and only took us a couple of wounds at the end, which if we were playing a little more sensibly we could have just chosen a nice skill here to heal and discarded them straight away, so it'd be perfectly refreshed for the start of the next day. But I'm hoping that was useful for those of you following along, something good to see. Leave a little comment if there's a particular scenario or a mage knight that you'd like to see me play through, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers again and stay safe.